Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors.
Al, Ron, and James Lindner present.
This episode is a tribute to one of the legends of our sport that left a huge impact on my life. Friends, last week we lost one of the true legends of sport fishing. Ron Lindner was not only a pioneer in the fishing media industry, Ron was a tackle innovator, Ron was an incredible fisherman, and Ron was a brother in Christ. Very few people have had the kind of fishing influence in my life that Ron, Al, and James Lindner, and Dan Suron, Doug Stange, Dave Cassanda, and the whole rest of the in-fisherman group. Very few people had the kind of influence in my life that the in-fisherman had in my life.
You know, just kind of sit there with it. Sometimes you drag it along, you move it a little, twitch it a little. It's an awful slow way to fish. That's one way to fish.
In fact, the FLPS formula, fish plus presentation plus location equals success, would serve to be the foundation for everything else that I would learn about fishing for the rest of my life.
Another way is the more aggressive approach. You kind of swim it. Lift it, swim it, taking the slack, lift it, swim it, and then let it settle back down. So that's basically the two simplest ways of doing this thing.
Ron was producing fishing media content back in the 60s. About the time that cable television really started to take off in the mid-80s, The In-Fisherman was one of the first syndicated fishing shows to hit cable TV. And it's where I first became acquainted with The In-Fisherman and Ron and Al Lindner. The many accolades that Ron has acquired in his life. In fact, I believe Ron's been inducted into at least 3 fishing halls of fame that I know of. But all of those fishing accolades still do not do justice to the legacy that Ron leaves in the fishing media industry or the fishing tackle industry.
Probably the most widely publicized method for delivering live bait to walleyes is the live bait rig developed by Ron and Al Lindner in the 1960s. The simplicity of this system belies its cunning and effectiveness.
I know that many of our younger anglers today if they even know who Ron Lindner is, think of Ron Lindner as a walleye guy. And surely he was incredibly influential in the walleye fishing industry. But back in the 60s and 70s, Ron and Al were incredible bass fishermen as well. There's very little in our sport that these guys did not have influence in. I have approached studying sport fishing the same way that I approached my high school education, my college education, even my grad school education. I became a fan of the In-Fisherman TV show when I was a teenager back in the 80s. In the early 90s, I began receiving the In-Fisherman magazine, and later in the 90s learned to appreciate the In-Fisherman publication called the Walleye Insider. As a member of the In-Fisherman Club, I frequently ordered In-Fisherman videos on VHS, and throughout the years I bought many of the In-Fisherman products on both VHS and DVD. You may ask, why would anybody still be hanging on to VHS tapes? I still spend a lot of time today during the winter reading old In-Fisherman and Walleye Insider articles, as well as watching these old In-Fisherman tapes on VHS.
I'm going to give it a sweep set. There he is. Now he's down on me. There he comes.
Hey, but honestly, the bigger impact that Ron and Al Lindner had in my life came much later in 2005 when they co-authored the book First Light on the Water. If you have not read the book First Light on the Water, I encourage you to do so. In fact, I'll try to leave a link in the description of this video that you can get your hands on that book. It's a quick read, it's an easy read, it's only 150 pages. In fact, in the last several days since learning of Ron's passing, I've gone back and reread the book. But First Light on the Water was incredibly influential to me. I suppose it was largely due to timing. You see, in 2005, when I read that book, I had been out of the ministry for about a decade after being very involved in the ministry in the late 80s and early 90s. I had been asking the Lord and praying a lot, asking the Lord to show me how I could re-engage in ministry and be most effective in building His kingdom. Reading First Light on the Water, I was inspired by the fact that Ron and Al had the opportunity to use their passion for fishing in the outdoors to expand God's kingdom and share the gospel. So quite literally, First Light on the Water is one of the primary reasons that this YouTube channel exists. Reading that book started a chain of events in my life that really made it obvious to me that I would have plenty of opportunity to use my passion for the outdoors to forward God's kingdom and share the gospel. Friends, while I never had the opportunity to meet Ron Lindner, Ron had an enormous impact on my life that I am grateful for. I encourage you to pick up his book, First Light on the Water. On Ron's Facebook page, his favorite quote was listed as Romans 10, verses 9 and 10. I'll leave that here at the end of the video. Ron's faith was giant in his life, and it's evident in many, many ways. Friends, thanks for watching this short video. Please like this video. Please share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already.
Everything give thanks. It then says, give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. These words give me pause. I'm thankful for living in a country with the freedoms we have. I'm surely thankful for the outdoor animals that have enriched my life. I'm thankful for my family, for the career in the outdoors that I know that is a gift from God. And I'm especially thankful for God sending His Son to bail me out of the many foolish things I've done in my life. I have to keep reminding myself that on the darkest cloud-covered days, that there's a sun shining above them. Till next time, have a safe and blessed time on the water.